Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Alia Dela binti Alas from Good 7. My friend and I represent about Murabahah Financing in two banks which are Kuwait Finance House and Hong Leong Islamic Bank. Before I start, I will introduce our group member. First one is Shazwan, Shahila, Yasmin and Ha. This is flow for our presentation. Next is background of Islamic Bank. So the first one is established date. Kuwait Financing House was established in 1997 at the state of Kuwait. In 2005, Kuwait Financing House Malaysia was established, becoming the first Islamic bank to be granted a license in the country. It's expanded across 7 regions worldwide with 430 branches. It is a foreign bank and head office at Kuala Lumpur. Hong Leong Islamic Bank was established in 2015. It has 8 branches around Malaysia. It's wholly owned subsidiary of Hong Leong Bank and headquartered at Damansara. As you can see, for the both sides is product disclosure for this bank. Before you want to buy the product, you can see this first.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Shazwan. Now let's move on to the definition of Murabahah. So, Murabahah means sales of goods at cost plus a good markup, and the purchaser should be informed of their cost of purchase and their profit amount. And there are 2 types of Murabahah. The first one is Murabahah, which is the most common form of Murabahah, where risk to the seller is minimized by the almost immediate transfer of ownership of the goods. And the second one is Murabahah to the purchase order, which means the seller purchases the goods now but do not enter into sale transaction with the buyer until much later. And for the principles, there must be no riba, transparency of facilities, right of customer to cancel the contract, and the last one is deposit is allowed.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Han and I want to talk about the issues on the Murabahah Financing for the Hong Leong Islamic Bank and the Kuwait House Financing. So basically there are 3 main issues in the Murabahah Financing, which are the rollover in the Murabahah, the rebate in the early payment, and the calculation of costs in the Murabahah. For the first one, which is the rollover in the Murabahah Financing, please bear in mind that the Murabahah transaction cannot be rolled over for a further period, simply because it belongs to a specific community which has already been sold and hence cannot be sold twice. For the second one, which is the rebate on the early payment, basically the majority of Islamic school of thought did not allow this rebate if the discount is stipulated in the contract for the early payment. This can turn the contract into the interest-based installment sale, which Sharia strictly prohibited it. Lastly, the issue is about the calculation cost of the Murabahah Financing. If the exact cost cannot be ascertained, no Murabahah can be possible. In this case, the sale must be affected on the basis of musawamah, like the sale without reference to cost.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Yasmin and I will be explaining on the basis of preparation of financial statements by both Kuwait Finance House and Hong Leong Islamic Bank. As can be seen from the slides, the way both banks prepare their financial statements from the regulatory framework to disclosures are similar. This is because Kuwait Finance House Malaysia Berhad is a foreign Islamic bank that is wholly owned by Kuwait Finance House, while Hong Leong Islamic Bank is a full-fledged Islamic bank that is locally founded. Because of that, both banks use MFRS as their guidelines to prepare the financial statements, as can be seen from Note 2 of Kuwait Finance House and Note 1 of Hong Leong Islamic Bank. Next, the measurement used in arriving the stated amount for both banks is, first, for the initial recognition, it was measured using cost plus direct transaction cost, and for subsequent measurement, it was measured using amortized cost using the effective rate method, and for the case of impairment loss is deducted from the carrying value of the financing. As for the functional currency, both banks use the Malaysian ringgit as both primary economic environment is in Malaysia. Lastly, Murabahah Financing is recorded as financing, advances and other receivables under the asset segment of Kuwait Finance House and as financing and advances in Hong Leong Islamic Bank. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Nurshayla and I'll proceed with analysis on trend of Murabahah Financing for Kuwait Finance House and also Hong Kong Islamic Bank from 2015 to 2019. So based on all of this analysis, it can be clearly seen that every year, more than 50% of total financing in Kuwait Financing House consists of Murabahah Financing. Even though its financing trend has been declining slowly over the 5 years from 2015 to 2019. Therefore, we can prove that Kuwait Financing House prefer to finance in Murabahah Financing more compared to other financial instruments. On the other hand, for Hong Kong Islamic Bank, only in 2017 they financed more in Murabahah Financing, which shows that more than 50% of Hong Kong Islamic Bank's total finance is composed of Murabahah Financing on that year. In the meanwhile, Murabahah Financing at Hong Kong Islamic Bank showed an upward trend from 2015 to 2017 before it dropped sharply in the next 2 years to around 2% only. All of this data of Murabahah Financing for both Kuwait Financing House and Hong Kong Islamic Bank have been presented in Statement of Financial Position in both annual report. That's all from me.
For the conclusion, Murabahah is a trading instrument that has been adapted for financing purposes for providing a facility which is similar to credit facilities offered by the interest-based banks, while avoiding the involvement of prohibited interest. Thus, Murabahah can provide a lawful alternative to finance on the basis of interest, which the benefit is principally in the form of avoiding riba and ensuring the spiritual and material well-being in this world as well as in the hereafter. And for the recommendation, we need to increase the public awareness by held any programs to promote Islamic banking, which either fully funded or subsidized by the government. And the Malaysian government itself must be supportive to support any activities to promote the banking Islamic product.